First of all, thank all of you for coming out. I kind of figured there'd be almost nobody here because everybody would say, I don't need this. And Mary Frances and I know that some of you do. But hopefully some of you have had some of these lingering questions and it will be resolved. We are running another Zoom. I would like you to welcome to our program today. We have people who are not here. J. David Reinhardt is on here and Bobby Donehecker is on here. So you can all say hi to Bobby and John David. Hello. Hello.
Hey, Bobby, John.
So they don't hear you as well because the microphone is on the computer. So that's what they want to hear. But they are seeing exactly what you are seeing because I'm sharing my screen. So we have this Zoom program that's available to us. We have a subscription or a contract account that we're going to try to have available anytime somebody is using their computer to do a presentation. We will run Zoom, and if you're not able to join us due to health reasons or weather conditions or you're on vacation, if you can get to a computer, you can connect to Zoom and you can be a part of the presentation. Now, when you're not around here at all and you want to get everything, you use our video recording because that gets everything. So new people, you're being recorded, you're being videoed, so understand that. So you can go to our website or Everett's website where we post all of our programs and our meetings and watch what you've missed. And if you would like to be able to view it live, then you can check Zoom. We are also using Zoom for some of our SIGs because it works that way. So in the wintertime, it could be that the digital imaging SIG says, we're not going to come in tonight because the weather is bad, the roads are bad. But David Clement would be on at 6:45 or so, and everybody could join, and we could have a presentation. We could interact with that. We could do the same thing for our Facebook people. We could do it for our Apple people, for their iPads. So we're hoping that this is going to become a very unique thing. So if you have questions, you've had Zoom information sent out. David.
You say in one of our previous meetings that there's a way to take this out for a test drive before actually participating in
an actual Zoom. Yeah, I will send out a notice sometime in a couple of weeks saying, join me for a Zoom test. We just did one a few weeks ago, so I didn't do another one, partly because I've been very busy with some actual Zoom testing and stuff. But we have at least 2 people on here. I can't tell. I'll have to go up and look to see how many else has joined. But yes, there would be. All you have to do, and you got the email. I'll send another one out. You download the client to your computer, and that's it. When you get the email that says join the Zoom meeting, you just click on that link, and you get right here. Type in your name, and then you see whatever is being shared by the presenter's computer. It's easy, it's great, it doesn't cost you anything, and it works terrific. This is what we will be using for the November APCUG Virtual Tech Conference. We've decided we think this is a much better way to do it than through Adobe Connect, which was the way we were doing it before. So we will use that. All right, so we decided, it was the committee's decision, meeting to decide this last program, that we would take a lot of these loose ends that we keep hearing people ask about, saying, well, we talked about this before. For example, if we have time, we're going to talk about the web board, but that's a loose end. We have talked about that before. Enough that some people say, why are we bringing it up again? We've already talked about it. We still have loose ends. Or, these are what I call fracks. Frequently, repeatedly asked questions. Fracks. And so what we're going to try to do today is cover a number of those questions and problems and issues and whatever, and hopefully for the end of 2015 tie up some of these loose ends, and then we will start new in January with new programs. I will say that we asked, and we're going to be asking again, that at the December potluck, we are going to be asking you again, what kinds of topics do you want to be presented in 2016? But what we're not going to be doing is what I insisted on doing, and Mary Frances said, no, don't do that. We are not going to give you a list. It's going to be a blank paper with lines that you put down what? Because what we got last time in July, people just check them all. That really doesn't do us any good if it's everybody just check. So we will be wanting you to tell us specifically, what is it that we need to know?
I hate it when you're always right.
Sorry.
Doesn't happen that often.
Yeah, we already have one program for June set. We'll talk about that later. We know our July program. We know our November, December. But we need to have an idea. I think we know our January or February. So we're putting things together, but what is it? And somebody's going to say after this, why did we spend all this time? This is stuff I already know. Well, obviously, someone doesn't know all of it yet. We're going to start out with browsers and search. And I get this also from my classes that I teach. And what we have are people who do not realize or understand that browsers and search engines are two entirely different things. And people get them all confused, and they're trying to explain stuff, and it doesn't work right. Browsers are the software that views the internet. It is what you do to see things on the internet, because the coding language of the internet you could not read.
Such as?
HTML.
No, browser.
Well, that's not on here yet.
Okay.
You cannot read HTML. It's all programming code. So we have a browser that will translate into human readable material. You have search engines that go out and search the internet. And what you do is you say, I'm looking for such and such. And these search engines, and this is what a lot of people don't understand either, goes out through the whole world, looks at every single web page in the world, and comes back with a listing of every page that has what you're looking for on it. And it may not have anything to do with what you're looking for, but that page had your word on it, and you're going to get it. So you have to learn the right way in our internet class how to do good searching. David?
I think you can also select certain websites as your search. For example, Wikipedia could be set as your search.
Not going to talk about that right now, but yeah, let me keep on track here. Okay, but we could do a whole presentation on the correct way to search, because most people don't know how. Now, here's the thing. We have these browsers, and I will talk about different browsers, and we have different search engines, and you can use whichever browser you want and whichever engine you want. The problem is most people are brainwashed. They are brainwashed into thinking that there's only one and one. Not so. You have to understand that there are technically companies and browsers and search engines. The companies would be people like Microsoft, Apple, Mozilla, Google, Opera. These are software development companies that have all created browsers. And those browsers include, not limited to, Internet Explorer and Edge. Edge is what is replacing Internet Explorer in Microsoft. Safari, Firefox, Chrome, Opera. There are others, but I don't want to give you too much overload. There are search engines that include Bing, Google, Yahoo, Baidu, Dogpile, DuckDuckGo. How many people have ever heard of Baidu? I had. You had? Very good. It's a Chinese search engine. What they've done is they started out in the United States with Dow. If you've ever been on computers for years and years like me, you remember that we first started out using Dow Jones stuff. The guy worked for it. So this Baidu is like the Google of China. And that's because China kind of controls their internet. But it does the exact same thing, and that's what they do. Dogpile is a mega search. It's good because you can say, go to Dogpile, do your search. Dogpile will go and look at Bing, Google, Yahoo, DuckDuckGo, this one, this one. They may look at 7 or 8 different searches and bring you back a consolidated list. Most of you haven't probably heard of DuckDuckGo unless you've been in our class in Linux. This is another search engine that is out there. A lot of people are switching to DuckDuckGo because they have discovered that DuckDuckGo does not track you. They record what you are searching for, but not who it is. We have proof that Bing and Google will track you. When John goes on the internet and searches for something with Google and Bing, they write down that John Adam looked for this. And they keep that track, and then they can send stuff to you. But when you go using DuckDuckGo, Ken goes to search for something, and they say, oh, somebody is searching for this. Because we want to know what people are searching for, so we know what we need to have for them. It used to be that way in the grocery store. When you went to the grocery store, they tracked what people bought. So they know what they need to supply and what they need to keep. More asparagus soup or more tomato soup. Unfortunately, we've discovered now that all of us that have these little cards for our grocery stores that we scan for our points and stuff, they scan exactly who and what we are buying. All right.
John?
Yeah.
There is an advantage to that, though.
Yes?
If they find that a product has like a virus or some ill, and they'll send you or call you, let you know. And I did have that happen.
Okay, good. So there's a good one. Our problem, most people come back and tell us that using Google and Bing, they get pounded with junk mail and stuff like that. But that's a good one. So there are good positives.
Yeah, but how do you know that's a legitimate call?
How'd you know it was a legitimate call?
Well, I called them back.
Aha! Anytime you have a question about a call that you go in, you make the call the other direction. And if you get connected to the right place, then you know it was a legit one. Because we've all talked about in all of our meetings that no one's calling you about your computer problems. My mother-in-law has gotten it 3 calls, 2 in one day. She doesn't have a computer hooked up to the internet. I want her to take the guy on because she has a computer that's not hooked up and it's a Linux so she can play games. I want her to get on and let him try to tell her, well, go to here, click on this, open this up. And she'll sit there and say, I can't see it, whatever. And then find out she doesn't even have a computer hooked up.
And if you don't see me anymore, the Internal Revenue Service is coming to take me away.
Yeah.
They're coming to get us too.
Yeah, we're talking about. I got to sometimes remember when you have good comments and good questions. Sometimes I might repeat them for the audience at home because, like, this microphone picks you guys up real well. But Here it doesn't. All right, so as we look, Microsoft uses Internet Explorer, Edge now, and Bing. And the reason I say that you people, or not maybe you, most people are brainwashed, is that Internet Explorer comes with your computer, Windows operating system, and Bing. And most people don't know there's anything else. Mozilla makes or developed Firefox, and it uses Yahoo. It used to use Google, but there got to be some kind of a fight going on, so Firefox went with Yahoo. But I went and just researched and found out that Yahoo now uses Bing. So if you're using Yahoo, you're using Bing. Google is the company, the browser is Chrome, and the search engine is Google. There's our first problem with confusion, because now we have Google and Google. And people confuse one with the other. Google is the browser or the company. Chrome is the browser. Apple developed Safari browser, but they also use Google as their default. Safari also made a version for the Windows computer. Competition, you know, because Microsoft was making stuff that would work on Apple, so Apple's going to do that. But after I got it downloaded, we put it on all these classroom computers so we can show it. Apple came out and said, forget it. We don't want to mess with Windows people. We're stopping. So Safari no longer will be working with Windows. And a company called Opera makes a browser called Opera. Ooh, there's another confusing. But they also use Google as their default. But here's the bottom line. You can use any combination of whatever you want. You can use any browser. On Windows, you have to install it. Oh yeah. Okay. Because Microsoft will not install automatically anything other than Internet Explorer or Edge. So you would have to download Opera, Chrome, Firefox, whatever else. When you go to your browser, they have by default picked a search engine. But you can go in and change it. That's what David was coming out to say. You can go in and pick, including things like Wikipedia. That's technically a search. It's an encyclopedia online. You can make that your default. You could make, if you're a person who buys a lot, you make Amazon your default search. So there's a whole bunch of search engines out there.
I went online one time and wanted to change a search engine or a browser. So I put a new browser in there, and they went in to my computer, and programs like Avast that I had on there for security, they disabled it. You know, they go through your thing and decide what you're going to keep and what you're not going to keep.
There's another whole discussion about downloading and installing programs that you have to learn about. It is possible because you gave permission maybe to make those changes and make something your default and stuff. But you can change it. David, let me go back to you since you were going to bring that up earlier. So anything else you wanted to add to talking about choosing your own browser, making it the default?
No, I just might add a comment that you can open more than one browser at the same time, as long as your computer's got enough memory and so forth. So you can do that if you want to for some reason.
Yeah. You might be wanting to say, okay, I'm going to open up Internet Explorer Edge with Google and search. And then I'm going to open up Firefox with Yahoo and search. And then maybe Chrome with DuckDuckGo, and see what kind of results you get. You know, when you're on the internet, who knows? John?
What about the difference between open source and something that's owned by a company?
Well, Apple and Microsoft, they own Internet Explorer and Safari. That's closed. Something like Chrome is half closed. Chrome came from Chromium, which is the open source. And then there are some other browsers out there. I'm not quite sure about Opera. but there are others that would be open. That means, open source means that the recipe for what is inside it is open to anybody, and they can take that and modify it for their own personal needs. So, some of
But
those.
the maintenance is a little bit different too.
I just do updates.
I mean, when they are modified so that everybody gets new versions of, say, Firefox or whatever, it's different than Explorer because the company is who is certifying.
Well, but in Firefox, Mozilla is certifying it. So if you're doing Firefox, Mozilla has the control over it. But you can get Iceweasel. That's a branch of Firefox with somebody else, so they are updating it with what they think is the way to the recipe.
There may be a lot more people that aren't actually paid by the company that are involved in certifying that it's all right, et cetera, right? In some of these cases?
Not in some of those, because those are company ones.
That's true, yeah.
Firefox is...
But
is
open
Mozilla.
source being...
Well, but open source just means you can have the recipe. I have the original, and I'm maintaining it. You can take my recipe and you can modify it, but the people know to come to me. Free John, not John A. They don't know for sure if John A's version of Firefox, how well it's secure and whatever.
But before the modifications that anybody else would make are actually certified so that they are in the next standard release, there's a difference between who looks and certifies that they are correct for the next release.
Well, and that's because that's right. That's Mozilla that's doing Firefox. If you're doing Firefox, it comes from Mozilla. It's the company that certifies and does the updates.
I wonder if John is talking about the fact that if he or I had the computer skills, we could look at Mozilla and be a second source of inspectors.
Okay.
Said, yeah, this is running okay, there's no backdoors.
Yeah, with open source, anybody can look at it and see whether something's been snuck in by somebody else. But
But
I
a
don't
lot
think
more eyes looking at it.
if it's open source, could be, yes. But I'm still saying, there's probably a lot of eyes at Firefox that are looking at, and a lot of Opera that are looking at. It's when you get one that makes it, like I said, Iceweasel. Okay, but that's kind of drifting. You can pick. There are the websites. So all you do for a search engine is you go to their website and use it. In your browser, you can go and say automatically, when I do a search, go through them. Thought it was interesting when I went and copied the web addresses for those two of them, Google and DuckDuckGo, use HTTPS for secure, but notice Bing and Yahoo, and remember Yahoo is Bing, but you just don't know that. Those weren't HTTPS websites. All right, so you can do your own. Laura.
How about Dogpile? Was that address similar?
Dogpile just goes out. It's like a company that says, I'll do your shopping for you, and I'll go to all the stores and find the best deals or whatever. So you go to Dogpile, they go to all of the different ones and bring you back everything they found.
So dogpile.com?
I think so. I think it is.
Evidently, all these other search engines must have agreed to let Dogpile do this.
If I was a person who was going to do your shopping, do I have to get permission from Big Bear and Giant Eagle and Kroger's to go and do your shopping for you?
Probably not.
Right.
How in the world? Dogpile must have some sort of algorithm for deciding what order these things come back in.
It might, but they go out and they do the searching. So instead of me having to go to all the grocery stores, Dogpile will go and bring all the results back. I don't have to open multiple browsers and do multiple searches. Dogpile. There's another one, metadata, I think. So there's a couple of out there that are designed. We'll go do the searching for you. All right, so bottom line then was you pick whichever browser you like. You are not required to use Internet Explorer, but if you like Internet Explorer, fine. You will be required in Windows 10 to use Edge. Internet Explorer is still in there for a little while, but I'm predicting it'll be removed. All right, so you pick whatever browser you want, and you pick whatever search engine you want, and then be a happy little plan. It's free to pick. You don't have to go with what they suggest you go with. Okay, another problem, another loose ends. We are going to raffle off today 2 things. One is a 2 terabyte external hard drive, and one is a 32 gig thumb drive.
64 it's got here. This is it.
Oops.
That's 64. I don't know.
I know what I see and I know what I heard, so somebody's going to have to work that
I
out.
know, I've got the thing.
I know it. That's the visual, but the talking is,
Mine.
there's a question on there.
That's an older person behind me.
Yeah. All right. So we are raffling off these. We have done these before. And the problem is we get people to get these, and we've talked about using them to back up their files and whatever, and the question comes back around. I don't know how to use them. I got one. Now I don't know what to do with it. Okay, I'm starting out by saying there's no different than saving to the internal hard drive on your computer. No different at all. So I'm going to leave my thing here a second. How can I? There we go. Now I don't want to go back to the screen. Oh, I have to stop sharing. That's why. Okay, I'm going to get back here. Minimize.
Will you lose your Zoom people when you do this?
Now, I'm supposed to be still sharing. I'm just trying to share my desktop, getting back to it. So Escape does that. Okay. Let me make sure. There you go, minimize all of that stuff. Okay, so I'm going to take my thumb drive and I'm going to plug it into my computer. Next meeting, share my screen. I'll minimize that. Okay, I plugged in my thumb drive and it's there. Now, I'm going to open up a file. All right, need a big book. I was going to say, make millions on that. All right, the difference is very small and it's easy. I have to go to Save As. Because if I don't, Microsoft will want to put it on my internal drive where it thinks it should go. So I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to go to Save As. Now, what happens is Microsoft says, well, you've got to put it on your PC and it's a document in your document. All you do is say, nope, that's not what I want. Go down through your computer list and find your thumb drive. And say, no, I want to save it on my thumb drive. So I click there. Now I'm on my thumb drive, which is called empty because it is. I gave it a name so that you would see it. It's something different. And then I give it a name and save it.
Hey, I've got that file.
Yeah, did that for you. And so now I've saved a file to the thumb drive. The only difference was instead of going to my computer, I went down to my thumb drive. Now, the same exact thing. This thumb drive, or this hard drive, is an actual large version of what I just plugged in. So I go in, plug in this one, and it's found it. And I do it again. File, save as, and again, there's this PC, and there's my Windows. I don't want to put it on Windows. I look down here, there's my empty, and there's my Toshiba. I click on that, and here are all the folders and stuff that I've already created on my external hard drive. I either save it there, make a new folder, save it. Nothing really different except the step that you have to go down and say, computer, I'm changing where you think it should go. This is the same for Windows, Linux, Apple. The computer knows that when you create something, it's supposed to go on the computer. So all you do is go down your list and say, nope, I'm going to switch to that. Questions on
Yeah, do one.
Al?
This is not a question, it's more a comment.
Okay.
Through the Microsoft Suite, pardon the expression.
What?
Tools options lets you specify a path, so you never have to go through that. So when you save it, it'll be where you want it.
I don't always want it in the same place.
Okay, well, you can hit F12, will bring up Save As and get you there too.
No, you have to close out.
You're on your flash drive right now.
I'm on that hard drive. That's F12,
Oh, is that Word or LibreOffice? I can't see.
LibreOffice. of
Okay,
course.
never mind. I said for the Microbook Suite,
Yeah.
F12 will do that. And it'll
The Microsoft.
And what does F12 do?
Save As.
Oh,
Instead
well,
of the menu.
everybody-
It's charged by the mouse click, John. You should know that.
Everybody else does it Control-Shift-S.
In the wrong world, it's F12.
The problem is, it's putting it up behind. But either way, I'm going to save as, but I have to pick external hard drive and not computer drive. Because the computer wants to put it in the computer. So I have to go to the save as so I can go down and say I want to switch to my thumb drive, I want to switch to the external. That's the only difference.
Mr. John?
Yes.
Why don't you save a copy of a file you've got in storage somewhere on one of those drives?
Well, I just saved junk meat to my thumb drive.
Yeah, but you saved it from a program. I want you to save a file that's just stored.
Nope, don't want to do that. What? The question was, I don't know how to save to my external drive. So
Maybe they've got a whole bunch of pictures in a folder somewhere that they want to save to this drive.
and then I have to go teach them about copying and pasting across two different places. Bill, who threw me because you signed in earlier from here. Yes, Bill.
So you say something that you got on your computer on this external as a backup.
Mm-hmm.
So you got two places.
Right?
And if you change that document or something, you just go to save, it'll save both of them.
Nope. It only saves to where you opened it from. Did you open up the one on the computer or open the one on the external drive? So it goes back to that. So if you open it up on the computer and you make changes and you save it, then you got to go to File, Save As, switch to your external device and say, save it here.
So you're using that as a backup to the original. You have to do that, or
That's backing
no
up.
way around it, huh?
Another whole meeting would talk about backing up software and syncing software. So you put that on at Christmas time. Right now, the question was, how do I save to the thumb drive or my external hard drive that I won, and it's been sitting on my shelf for 6 months because I don't know what to do with it.
John?
Yes.
Just a little note about this save and save as. If, let's say you're creating a document and you want to save in case something happens, do save as to start with.
Mm-hmm.
Then from then on, like if you make any changes, if you haven't, cleared out of that and you're still working on it, hit save, and it'll save it to the original, wherever you saved as in the first place.
But it will not update the one on your external drive. So I teach in the classes to do save as so you can see what's going on. Lee?
What he just said,
Yep.
he said you were working on save as.
First time you save, even if you click save, it's going to go to save as because the computer has to know where, what do you want to call it.
But when he said that, he made changes and he clicked that, it would go to save as?
No, it would save it in the original spot that it came from. When you open it up and you make changes, you can hit save. And it will save those changes, but only to that file. If you want your changes backed up, you got to go to File, Save As, switch to your external, and then save it a second time.
Because what I've been trying to do is, if I have a form that I have, I go and hit save as, I change the name of it, so I can make the changes in that and keep the original form.
Okay, that's different. You're not making changes to that file. You're saving a second file.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, I see it now.
I teach it, it's like an author. When an author is writing chapter 1, they'll start typing the story and they'll go to save and save chapter 1. It'll be save as, I'll call it chapter 1A or start. Then the next time they come back and open it up, they add to it. But they don't want to get away from the original because they changed some words in here and added some sentence. So they save that as chapter 1.1. And the next time you want to be chapter 1.2. Because then if the author says, I don't like the direction I'm going, they can go back to the original one or .1 or .2 and pick up from before they made a whole bunch of changes. Okay, but that's doing it different than Ever was saying. If you make changes to the file you want, you just hit save and it saves it with the changes.
Thank you, John.
But if you want to back it up, like we're talking about using that external drive, save as, so you get this window, because in save you do not get this window. It just does it. You want this window so you can pick
You can say save as or where, change the name of the file or save it.
Correct, yeah. The whole thing's the rules of that. You can have jump be in different places and that's fine, but you've got to change that. All right, any questions? Do you see how easy that kind of is to use? But we know for a fact that we have had past winners of our devices and they don't use them because they don't know They don't understand. Mary Frances.
You informed guys will make fun of me, but some of my girlfriends have trouble. I get them this far to the save as, and they say, I don't know which one to pick after I got it plugged in. I'm not sure which one of those I'm supposed to choose. So I back up and I tell them to go look at that save as window before they plug in there. And then they'll be able to see what's different on it after they plug
Well,
in.
that's why in the class we teach how to change the name of your thumb drives and external drives so that you know. The Toshiba has a Toshiba name. The thumb drive said empty. My thumb drive say JCAN 1, JCAN 2. David?
I think if you open File Explorer or Windows Explorer before you connect your, let's say your flash drive, that you'll see the flash drive being added to the left column,
Right.
which might be kind of helpful.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
That.
Yeah, Robin.
I like to take it and, go to My Documents and do a right click on it, and you can go and save it to your thumb drive, and you got the whole, everything in My Documents on one line.
He's going to teach you that later. Right, that's a whole other concept of moving files. Didn't want to do moving files today. All I want to do is, because somebody's going to win one like this today, and somebody's going to win one like this today, I want people using it. You've got to back up your files, especially if somebody's going to Windows 10. I had a friend who went to Windows 10. Everybody said, oh, no problem, no problem. He lost everything. Had no backup.
Oh.
Didn't think he needed one. So we're trying to teach here. Back up, back up, back up. Because that's something that you come here to repair day, and if you've lost all your files and you don't have a backup, we can't guarantee there's anything we can do.
They're doing it now in cloud, aren't they?
Some people are, yes. That's good. As long as you're backing up.
Is your friend Hillary?
Speaking of politics, Lee. All right, so there's the stuff that goes down. All right. That's it. I wanted you to see it instead of just reading it. We have heard many times, I don't know how to get to the website. I can't find the website. So, tying up loose ends, fracks. We have two addresses. The www.eco.club is the new current one. East Central How Technology Users .club. .club is the newest extension on the internet. We picked that because if somebody wants to search for clubs, they can specify .clubs, and we should show up in their search. Before, when we were .org, if they searched .org, we would come up with all of the listings in .org. So we switched to that one because we knew we could get that name because it was brand new. You can go to either address and it will end up at the same place. And that will end up at our new website. If you end up at the old website, you are not looking out on the web. You are looking at a saved copy of LCCS Ohio that is stored on your computer. Because your computer copies everything you go to on the computer. And then when you want to go back to something, it first checks to see if it's on your computer, because that's easy to get. I don't have to go out and get it. Sounds like a kid. And so if you type in lccsohio.org and you have old copies of our old website, it'll bring it up. But it's not the real one. It's a copy because it has all the old information or whatever it said the last time you were there.
Remember they were telling you the calendar was wrong?
Right, it said the calendar was wrong. They were looking at an old one. So what you might have to do is clear your cache. It's one of the settings in Internet. We have a class that teaches Internet. But you go in and clear all that stored stuff. Then when you type in lccsohio.org, it looks and says, oh, nothing in my files here. I have to go out and get you the real one. All right. Now, when you get to the website, people are going, I don't know. Well, if it isn't as easy to use, then you tell me and we'll make changes. Across the top we have tabs that says Home, Meetings, Programs, Home, Meetings. Underneath Meetings are Program and Info. If you go to Home, it's the basic information about our club. It's just the general information that somebody who's just out surfing wants to know a little bit about our club. They can read a little bit about it. History and whatever. If they want more detail, they can go to click on the tab that says Meetings. And on that page, every one of our meetings is listed as to day, what day and time. If you go to the tab that says Program Info, that will tell you what is our current program or what was our past program, so you can get more detail. If you go to the tab that says EcoTuck Calendar, we keep saying this. This is an outside source. So we have a link to go out to, this is a Google Calendar that's maintained outside of the LCCS Ohio EcoTuck Club. So we link to it. And so you click on that and you go to it, and then I'm at the mercy of the person who maintains that calendar of keeping it up to date. I can't control that. We can control the meetings, because that's internal, but that's external. But you can go in and see all the meetings perpetually, because the Google Calendar will go beyond your death with just all the meetings that they get put in here. We have a tab that has the officers. All the officers and leaders are listed, and there's a link for emailing. So if you need to get a hold of somebody, you just go to officers, click on their name or their email, and your browser, an email program should fire up, address it, and all you have to do is subject and message it. But they're all on there. We have a tab for newsletter. All of our newsletters are on our website, except for the newest one. The newsletter editor sent every one of you a copy of this month's newsletter. I will now, because it's halfway through the month, I will post it on here for anybody else in the world to read. But I figured members get first dibs to read it. You paid your dues, so you get to read it. Now I'll put it up on the web so that anybody else can read the October newsletter. Some clubs wait a month before they put it up.
Nancy Grauer read our newsletter, and it said in it, Nancy Grauer was the winner of one free ticket.
And I read it, and I read it, and I read it.
All right.
And she called for it, and she got it.
Okay. We also have a link to what we call our web board or forum. And notice again, link to outside site. This will take you out of our website because this is hosted differently. And this is a place where it's for members only. Anybody in the world, they'll get to the front door and it says you've got to log in. All of you members have a login. New members, maybe not because you're new, but we will get you one right away. And once you go into that, then you'll be able to read past announcements, past questions, post questions, all the sorts of stuff that make this web forum nice. And if we don't start using it, I'm going to make a motion to get rid of it.
Bonus words.
And the bonus words. And I won't even tell you, we can go in there and tell you how many people went and looked at that, and it was like 5, maybe 6. There's also links. And there's links. Now, back one page. Let me see if I can do this back one page. Hard to see in the dark. There we go. On the meetings page, the second button, when you go to meetings, the very first paragraph talks about videos. People say, where do you find the videos? On that meetings page, because where are the videos? They're about our meetings. There is a paragraph. It says right here, click here to watch the videos. It goes to a link to an outside place. We don't host the videos right now on our website. We have a nice friend who has a YouTube website. And so we go to his website by that link and can watch all of our videos. It's right there. And in talking with him, I even have it a second time under links. You go to links and there's a link to the videos again. There's also a link to APCUG and to all of their videos. And we have some other miscellaneous links that the executive board needs to look over and decide which ones we're keeping and which ones we're getting rid of. This is where I guess that the club could put links that our members have, but we don't know what I don't know what the policy is on that. But all that stuff is right there, real easy. I don't know how to keep track of all my passwords. Do I have to use more than one password? How do you keep them straight? Well, one option is you don't. You use one password that you know for everything. Then you don't have this problem. It's the easiest, but it is unsafe. Because should somebody crack your password, and we've got to talk about passwords too, they would be able to get into anything that you had a password on. And nowadays we have lots of websites and places that require passwords because we want to keep our information that we store on those email, web mails that we use, the clouds that we use, forms that we use. Yes, you can use the exact same one, but then if you're using that one and also use it for your bank and for your medical records and all that, person catches that one, they've got everything about you. So not advised. Okay, so I'm going to have a whole bunch of different ones. I'm going to write them down. Keep them in a little book. And that really at home is fine. It's in a business that you wouldn't want to do that because then some coworker could get all your passwords and stuff. But if you're the only one at home and nobody else comes in, you could have a booklet with all your passwords. But if somebody broke into your house and stole your passwords, then you'd be out of luck and they would have all the passwords and you wouldn't be able to get back in again. Somebody else said, well, I can store them in my computer in a file. Type them all up on a word processing stuff and then store them. Then nobody's going to take them from me. But what if somebody hacks into your computer and steals your files? Because there are people who are so smart, they type up a file with all their passwords and they save it with the file name passwords. My passwords. So a hacker that gets into your computer, looks through your files and sees my passwords? Okay, I got them. So if you're going to do that, at least give it a name that would be confusing to anybody else. It's just like when you use GPSs. How many have a GPS to get you around? How many of you did what they said to do, is put your home address in it? It's marked as home. So when you're gone somewhere and Janet loses her GPS, I just pick it up, hit home. I know where Janet lives, and I know she's not at home because I found her GPS in California. So I get a hold of my cohorts, go to this website. They're not home. The dog's home, and don't you irritate her little dog. So you don't put your name or your address for the one home. Give it something different. I live right down by West End Fire Station. I could put the West End Fire Station in as my home, and it would take anybody to the fire station. Or even better yet, just down the street's a funeral home. And once I get to the funeral home, I can find my way back to my house. So I would put fire station, police station is the best, yeah. So you see, you make it. So don't make it. All right, so...
John?
Yes.
Excuse me, I used your address, I hope you don't mind.
Not at all. Come on over, because I'll be there waiting for him.
It won't be me.
Yeah. All right, so there are some better ways. Yeah, David.
I do use a file on my computer to store passwords, but I use a lot of asterisks in passwords because I know the password enough that if I see part of it in actual characters, readable characters, it refreshes my memory about the whole password.
Perfect. And when you go to think of passwords, they are recommending that your passwords now have to have at least one capital letter, one lowercase letter, one number, or numeral for the math people, and one symbol. And maybe has to be at least 8 characters. The more characters you have, the harder it will be to generate. The more of these odd things that you use, the harder it's going to be. So throw in a capital, throw in a number, throw in a symbol, and David does a great job. He has a system where he can recognize by putting some asterisks in that when he sees that, oh, I know it's missing. It's just like you've seen the emails that people send around. We can read without vowels.
Yes.
We can read sentences and paragraphs basically with the beginning consonant, ending consonant, and the little letters in the middle jumbled up because our brain thinks like David's does. We think of the big picture. Watch for that email. It's great because all of a sudden you're reading this crazy thing and all you're reading is the first letter and the last letter of a word and you know exactly what it is.
Hey John?
Yeah.
What I was suggesting, if you have your heart set on saving the passwords in a document, password protect that document.
Okay. And then write down that password that protects your passwords.
They've used some suggestions in my work, such as the first letter of a sentence that means something to you.
Yeah.
You know, such as my first animal was a cat, so the MFA as your password.
Just to pop my head, the letter I can also be a 1. IV2 eco CU capital L lowercase b. You know, so you can put together a sentence. I belong to the Licking County Computer Club or whatever, and then it makes sense to you. Man, just type it right. 2 other things that you could do that's very good. One is that you can use an encryption program on your computer. One of the top ones is KeePass or KeePass X. And you can put all of your passwords in there, or you let it generate a password that nobody could crack, even you, but you have a master password that lets you get to that. And so all you do, you come to a website and you put in kind of like your master password and it fills in the stuff. Ken's a KeePass person. I'm not saying it exactly right, am I?
Yes, that sounded correct.
Okay. So you go. Now, that information is kept on your computer, or, very nice, it can go on a thumb drive. So I can take that thumb drive with me to the classroom, plug it in, and when I want to go to one of my websites, I know the password and I can connect to my thumb drive and do it. But if I lose my thumb drive, the person who gets it has to know the master password to access that. So KeePass, that's from Windows. KeePass X, that's for the other two.
Does that KeePass also put in your username and password?
Yes.
Okay, because a lot of times I have different usernames.
Right. When, it'll take you a little while to set up. If you're totally brand new, then it's easy. All you have to do is give it your username and it will generate an unbreakable, practically, password. If I want to switch to KeePass, which I might do, I would have to go and edit and put in all my passwords into KeePass, and they would then encrypt it, and I could use it. I currently use LastPass. This is one that is stored on the cloud, and people will say, oh, what? And I do the exact same thing as with KeePass. I enter a web address, my username, and a password. It is all stored on a web extension. So it connects to their cloud. So when I get to a website, it knows my website. I click on the button, I pick my username for that website, and it adds the password. What's nice is I can come here and I can access it through the web and get into all my stuff. I can be out west. All I have to do is connect to LastPass and I can get into mine. KeePass, if I'm not at home, I need to have my... oh! I forgot about that. Put the stuff in Dropbox. That might be why I'm thinking of switching to that, because then I'm controlling a little bit better. Alright, so those two are good. LastPass, KeePass, of course you know who I am, they're free. There is a paid version of LastPass, and I happen to pay for it. Surprise, surprise. It's $12 a year, but it then lets me connect my LastPass to my phone. So when I go on the web and on my phone, I have access to my password. Wayne?
John, I have one or two of my accounts set up. I thought it was LastPass, where I'll log in and then the phone will ring and there will be a number code that I have to type in before it'll let me before it'll let me in. Is that LastPass?
That is not double.
Two-factor.
Two-factor verification.
Oh yeah, that's it.
That's the newest thing that's happening. And for some people, they like it, some people don't. You have to log in like with two passwords. One password is yours, then you get a text message that says, it's really you, you can use this for your second. A lot of places are allowing that, and you have the option. I don't want to try to think through who all websites have it, but they will offer you two-factor authentication. And so you have the password that you put in first, and then they call you on the number that you gave them. So if you aren't logging into something and your phone rings, you got an idea that somebody's trying to, or is getting into your account. It used to be the two was you log in and it asks you what was your mom's birthday or what was the favorite school or whatever. Well, if somebody knows you well enough, they might be able to guess at that. But if the phone or text message, that goes to your phone, that is more of a secure one. So yeah, that's would be the next. KeePass doesn't do that, does it?
I have not seen two-factor on that.
Yeah. But mostly it's for that kind of stuff.
You
So that-
can put it on Android.
Okay, you go, oh, good, you can go on Android. All right. Last, I think this is maybe last, PDFs. We send you the newsletter every month as a PDF. You can lie about it, how many people got the email from our editor with the newsletter attached to it. If you didn't get it, then you need to see Jim, because we use the address in our list to send out. Now, if you are getting emails from Jim and me, but not your newsletter starting this month and last month, then you need to check your spam for blocking Rich Allen or the newsletter editor. I'm not quite sure. Jim, do you remember which one you set up for him? Yeah, I'd have to go and look it up. Because when we send out through LCCS mailing system, 168, Vicki, is that what you did? 168, some web mail programs will take that for spamming and will block it, put it somewhere. And so if you're not getting the newsletter, check first your spam folder, your trash folder, to make sure that you're not losing it. You may have to go to your Windstream website mail or your Roadrunner website mail to make sure that they aren't stopping it there and putting it, because there's a spam folder at your ISP and there's a spam folder on your computer. But if they stop it there, it's not going to get to you. So you need to check. And then if you find it neither, then you check with Jim and say, Jim, let's verify my address because I'm not getting stuff. But we send it out as a PDF, portable document format. Everybody can read a PDF. It's a public type file. Everybody has it. So that's what we do. A PDF is actually a process that a picture is taken of every document sheet and then sent to you. And you're just actually looking then at a picture of a document. You can't really do much with it, but you can read it. The problem is that somebody might not have a PDF reader on your computer. Now that's surprising because Microsoft kind of has a deal with Adobe that they include Adobe Reader on most Windows computers. So you should have one on there. But if your computer, when you try to click on that attachment, comes up and says, I don't know what to do with this, then either you don't have a PDF reader or the computer doesn't know that you're supposed to open up PDFs from your email with Adobe Reader or whatever. Contrary to what you read on the web pages, and I get so irritated, I see you must have Adobe Reader to do your PDFs. You go to this website, you must have Adobe Reader. Click here to get it. Now, you do not have to have Adobe Reader. You have to have any PDF reader. And this is another thing where like Microsoft brainwashes people. Most people, all they know is Adobe Reader. They don't realize that there are a number of other ones out there. Adobe Reader, Foxit Reader we've been using for years. Nitro Reader, one of the best ones in the reviews for a PDF reader. And then one that I use that's kind of a little bit of a step up called PDF Exchange Reader. So there are 4 different ones that you can use. You do not have to use Adobe Reader. You just have to have a PDF reader by somebody. So you can go check those out. And what happens is that Adobe Reader is the very basic reader. Adobe gives you a very basic reader that all you can do is read. Because they have a big multi-$100 program called Acrobat that deals with PDFs. They want you to buy it. So they give you the cheap reader that doesn't do much. And then you'll say, oh, I need to do more. Hey, we've got a program you can buy. Both Foxit Reader, Nitro Reader, and PDF Exchange are free programs that do more than what the simple Adobe Acrobat Reader can do. And so I encourage people, yes, you might have Adobe Reader, check out these other ones and see if you like them better. And somebody might say, nah, I just need a simple plain one. Fine. Adobe Reader might fit you. Yes, Bill.
What is more?
Where you can add something to it. I can, maybe Mary Frances has a PDF that she sends me. I can mark on it and say, this is good, this is whatever. I can cut and paste off of it. I'd have to go in, and you can tell right away that when you open up the different ones, you'll say, wow, this one has more tools than Acrobat Reader does. Or Adobe Reader, I'm sorry. Maybe have a different way of navigating. To go to the next page, back and forth, and jump to a page. You have to go, it's like a car. Everything I do in the computer world is teach how to like cars. Why do we have different cars? What's different about it? Well, you've got to go in and sit in it and try it out and see if you like the way the steering wheel sits, the controls over here. So same with PDFs. But the thing is, there are choices. You are not limited. PDF Exchange Viewer, if you go to that one, I was surprised a little while ago, they have a paid version. It's called PDF Exchange Editor, which does even more than the viewer. It's now free. Whoa! But I didn't put the different name confusing. So go to any of those and try them out. Last, finish up, and then we can do our drawing. We have people who said, I don't remember my password. How do I take care of that? Websites usually have a back door in which there's a little something that says, I forgot my username or I forgot my password. When you click on that, it'll take you to a screen that says, okay, put in your username and hit the button and wait. You gave us a phone number. We will call you with a code, or we will text you with a code that proves you're you. Enter it in, and then we'll let you change your password. Because we don't know what it is, but we can let you change it. Some are difficult. We were trying to work, there's Jim. A month or so ago, we were trying to work on Bob Potts's. Somehow messed up his Microsoft login, password, user. We tried to go through all the back doors and we got nowhere. And finally we were able to do something. But websites usually have a back door. So when you go to a website and set up an account and they say put in your phone number or your text message number, do it. Or put in a different email that can be your alternate. Do it. Because then when you hit that button and say send me an email, it'll send you an email. We do that. I do that all the time with somebody. Can't get into their computer before Windows 10. We go in and go through the thing, can't remember password, whatever. It sends it to their alternate email program. We can log into one of our computers here, log into his email or her email, and there's the email that says, here's your code number, and then we go back to this computer, put the code number in, we're fine. So when they ask you for an alternate email or phone number or text number, do it, because they do not have your password. Now, if it's your computer, yes, Vicki?
One of the things that's a real nuisance, a lot of these that ask you to let them give you a new username, it's only good for 24 to 72 hours.
Yep.
If you've gone through all that trouble, you'd think they'd let you have it for the rest of the year.
No, because it's temporary.
Yeah, very.
It's their way of saying, you forgot your password, here's your penalty. You can do this one, but then you got to change it for real. And then sometimes they'll come up and say, well, you've used that password before, you can't use it now.
Yes.
And that just sucks.
Yeah. But, see, they don't know if you're really you or not type thing. Now, if you're on your computer and your login doesn't work and you can't remember the password, if you are a standard user, then the admin user on your computer can go in and change your password. And everybody should, we teach it in our classes, everybody should on their computer have an admin user and a standard user. So that if something happens to the standard user, the admin. So now somebody says, well, what if it's the admin login that's messed up? Well, you come to Ken and the Linux world and we'll fix you. Because the Linux world has the CDs that can get in and remove the Windows passwords and change them. So now everybody realizes, so why do I have a password if a Linux CD with rescue disk can go and change it? Well, the everyday person doesn't have that. Your grandkids don't have that. Your spouse doesn't have it. So, an admin user gets messed up, we can fix that because the Linux program has a tool that can go in, find the user, either delete the password or change it, and then you can get back in and reset. So there are solutions. So the people that have come to Mary Frances say, I don't know what to do. Well, now all of you, when somebody comes to you, would say there are solutions. You don't just throw away the computer. You don't wipe it and reinstall Windows and lose everything. There are ways that we can get around that. All right, fracks. Hopefully, some of these were your fracks. If you are here and none of those were your fracks, I'm sorry that we've taken this time. And I'm sorry that the people who have all these fracks aren't here to hear it, because now they still have loose ends. If you have questions, things you want to see done, put them on the December's little list of things we'd like to see done. If you have questions about how to do this, help me with this, we have a Windows help desk that nobody shows up for.
This Friday, right?
This Friday morning. Chuck and I will be here. And last time, we had a great time because nobody came, so we worked on Linux the whole time.
Good job.
All right.